Marco, Straumann has just delivered its strongest quarter in 9 years with organic revenue growth of 16%. Where's that growth been coming from?
You know, the encouraging news is that it's coming from all regions. Okay, so we had in our EMEA region, we had almost 10% growth, and this on the background of relative modest market growth. If you look at markets like Germany or Switzerland, they are, even slightly negative. The US and Canada, so our North American region, 17% growth, so clearly outperforming everybody else in this highly competitive market. As you know, all our larger competitors, that's their home base: Dentsply, Henry Schein, Danaher, 3i, Zimmer, and we have been able to outperform all of them by lengths and to actually continue to gain market share. Asia Pacific, again, over 20% growth, driven obviously by China, but also our Japanese colleagues did an incredible job in Q3, double-digit growth. And finally, Latin America, also there more than 15% growth, and this despite the fact that, the Brazilian market is everything else than in good shape.
And has the growth been coming mainly from premium or non-premium?
Our most significant growth driver is still the BLT implant range. So this is actually a premium product, as we all know. Second largest growth contributor has been our non-premium business. And there, the Brazilian business, so the Neodent business in Brazil, but also very pleasing the development of our non-premium franchises outside of Brazil.
You mentioned Neodent there. They've just launched a new implant in Q3. How significant is this product, this Neodent GM?
It is very, very important to actually continue to gain share, especially outside of Brazil. So far, in referral markets like the US, we had some problems to convert large referral networks because of the particularities of the CM prosthetic components. Many of the GPs, they were not actually very much in favor of using prosthetic components of the CM line. And with the GM line, we have now something very simple, very intuitive, and we believe we have now big opportunities to go after large referral networks in specialist markets, especially like the US.
And how about the global rollout?
We have already started in Brazil. We have already converted 200 customers in Brazil to GM, and it's scheduled to roll GM out in the markets outside of Brazil during the end of Q1 and Q2 of 2018.
Thank you. And you've recently added some new subsidiaries in Russia and South America. Could you just tell us how they're doing?
Excellent development in all of the subsidiaries. Since actually we have taken over the distributorship in Russia, our business there is booming. We have done the necessary investment, so we have now presence not only in Moscow and a little bit in St. Petersburg, we are now present throughout the whole country. We just recently got clearance for BLT, which is also exciting because the Russian market is an apically tapered market, so perspectives there are fabulous. And in the markets you mentioned, Latin America, Chile, Argentina, very nice development, and they are also with both franchises, with the premium franchise Straumann, but also with the non-premium franchise. And as you know, we are actually selling there also the Neodent products.
And could you tell us a little bit about the latest subsidiaries that you talked about today?
You are talking about Iran, I guess. Yeah, Iran is an exciting market. It's a roughly 600,000 implant market. We have been present in Iran through a distributor for more than 10 years. But to be honest, our market share in this exciting market is clearly below 5%. So that's not what we believe we can achieve. We are entering this market not only with the premium range, we also have launched Neodent. We are actually looking at also, bringing up our own CAD/CAM franchise there. So perspectives to actually grow significantly the business in these exciting markets are also exceptional.
And now let's just look a little bit broader and look at the scope of the business. Where do you see the biggest opportunities in orthodontics?
First of all, the US market is a very attractive market. It's the largest market and it's growing, 30% plus. So there, obviously, for ClearCorrect is still a huge potential to grow. And we all know that ClearCorrect today is mainly a US business. I was recently in China. China is the second largest market of Align, growing 70% on a year-to-year basis. It's an exciting market, dominated, interestingly, not only by Align, but also by local Chinese players. So this is obviously the market we want to focus on, but also Brazil, a market which is driven by aesthetic requirements, is an exciting market for clear aligners. So opportunities outside of the US are there. It's now about defining the go-to-market models for markets like China, for Brazil, but also for Europe, and then to implement on it.
You mentioned earlier on today that this might be an area where further acquisitions could come along. Could you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that?
It might be that we enter, for example, the Chinese market through partnering up with an established local player. It might be that we take over distribution of one of the local brands. In China, we know to register the ClearCorrect range would take 2.5 years, and we don't have that time. We want to be there as fast as possible. Same in Brazil. Also there, registration hurdles are relatively high. There we might even think about building up our own production, co-located to our Curitiba factory. Or we might think about taking over a local hero. So there are different scenarios possible, and we have to actually define the optimum go-to-market model for each individual market.
So there's a lot of exciting growth projects in the pipeline. Let me just finish perhaps on talking about the guidance that, or the outlook that you've adjusted today. What's prompted that increase in the guidance?
Year to date, we have been growing organically by almost 15%. So if you make the math, to grow for the full year between 13 and 15%, we need to deliver in Q4 at least 9% growth, organic growth, to reach the 13% growth for the full year, or 15% to actually get to the upper limit of our guidance. And I'm convinced that 9% is very much in reach.
Yeah, some people said that was a little bit conservative.
We do not promise what we cannot deliver.
Marco, thank you very much indeed.